Starlink is a project by Elon Musk to basically deploy a constellation of satellites that will work together with a ground-based network transmitter to provide communication abilities and the internet. This project was initiated in May of 2018, and about 10 billion US dollars has been invested into the Starlink constellation project. The first stage of the project is to deploy about 12,000 satellites in lower Earth orbit. Now, when we speak of lower Earth orbit, right, we are fundamentally speaking about a distance that lies about 500 to about 2,000 kilometers above the surface of the Earth. When we look at the International Space Station, it is orbiting at a distance of about 400 kilometers from the Earth's surface. Now, the lower Earth orbit, um, basically the type of equipment or satellites which are deployed there are number one, imaging scientific purposes, basically for research purposes, telecommunications, and in this area, you can deploy smaller, cheaper satellites that can work well with ground-based network transmitters that can assist in reducing the latency, right? So we can provide low latency for the internet to be provided and supplied very fast. Now, when we look at the 12,000 satellites that are to be deployed in the first stage of the Starlink constellation project, right, they will be basically be deployed on three different levels, but within the lower Earth orbit. Now, the first layer in which these lower Earth orbit satellite will be deployed is at a distance of about 550 kilometers above the Earth. About 1,584 satellites will be deployed at this distance. Now, the second layer in which about 7,500 V-band satellites will be deployed at a distance of about 340 kilometers above the Earth's surface. Now, the third layer will have satellites being deployed at a distance of 1,101 kilometers above the Earth's surface, right? And about 2,825 satellites will be deployed here. Now, more satellites will be deployed by Starlink, right? As I've said, this is only the first stage. At the second stage, about 30,000, the amount of satellites that are being deployed or that will be deployed will sit at 30,000, right? But at the stage, the last stage, right, there would be an amount of about 42,000 satellites deployed in lower Earth orbit. Now, the schedule, right, in which these constellation of satellites are deployed into space is known to be about 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, right, about 60 satellites are launched to lower Earth orbit. And they use a special space rocket known as the Falcon 9 that was designed by SpaceX. Jeff Bezos also has a similar program under Amazon that is known as Project Kuiper. Now, this project known as Project Kuiper is slightly similar to the project which is being pushed by Starlink, right? But the number of satellites that they want to deploy and the, what can I say, the sophistication of those satellites basically differs. Amazon, right, under Jeff Bezos, basically wants to deploy about 3,286 satellites in lower Earth orbit. And it is a project that is expected to last about 10 years, and it basically began in 2020. About 10 billion US dollars has been invested in this project. Now, Project Kuiper satellites will also be deployed at three different levels of lower Earth orbit, right? The first level is believed to be about 590 kilometers. The second one is 610 kilometers. And the third one will deploy satellites at 630 kilometers above the Earth's surface. Now, the third project that I want to speak about, but not in a lot of details, is a project known as OneWeb, right? Basically funded by a billionaire known as Richard Branson, right? And this company is based in UK. It is quite a competitive company, but I won't really get into details.